Hello, lucky lust, and we're on to Aquarius. Aquarius, my dear friend, what does Capricorn Pluto mean for you? Well, my friend is going for your unconscious zone. If you haven't gone through my Saturn video yet, I suggest you do that first just to see the context because I've mentioned it a couple of times there. What is happening with this transit between 2008 and 2023, Capricorn Pluto? What is Pluto? How's it all going down there? Pluto is power, an obsession with power. Okay, so what's happening in your 12th house? Where is your 12th house and what is it doing? Okay, basically, you are trying to be something you're not. Okay, you are looking into the world of dreams and the world of other people's lives and the world of what other people provide you through an interdimensional experience, like the feelings and the touching, like everything that is very soft in frequency that you can't quite explain in words becomes really stimulated during this time. Basically, you become very generous with your energy towards the unknown. You can be also very giving towards a brothel. You can be very giving towards any kind of charity. You can be giving towards any kind of place where your money just goes and never comes back. You could be somebody who's addicted to drugs during this time. You could also be somebody who is in love with somebody who is of esoteric nature, who's completely bonkers, or who is a little bit out there, you know what I mean? Like who is not really here, who's not in this reality anymore. They've devised for themselves a whole different vibration of being in a whole different reality. You might be in love with the idea of not being here. You might even be at a risk of committing kind of like a suicide or some kind of a doing some really kind of bad thing about you, and perhaps you would have fluctuated between then and now and 2023, different phases of how you feel about your life. Perhaps sometimes you feel on top of the world, like it's all clear, you're all living a dream, la la la, I know everything. And sometimes you'll go, oh my god, screw this, I will die, I will need to die, this is terrible, I can't be in this world, I can't live, I can't survive, I can't breathe this oxygen, I can't handle this. So Aquarius is going through a reformative process that is basically becoming wiser through the unconscious, the psychic perception of one's world. What will it mean for you? I mean, what will it mean for me? Because I've got a Aquarius 11th house sun. Well, it doesn't actually mean anything because I'm not an Aquarius. But if you're Aquarius, a little bit, I mean, we're all one being, but it sort of changes. So Aquarius will go through a few different phases in the next few years that it has done in the past few years as well, going through different changes in their psyche, okay, going through different changes in their perception of themselves unconsciously, going through different changes their unconscious world. I mean, what do you value? Like, what are your beliefs? What are your spiritual inclinations? And this is very hard. This is very hard and heavy for our delightful, already very up-tuned person, Aquarius. Already very in tune, okay? And then going through their tuning all over again to tune themselves anew. So what would happen? Fluctuations in moods, okay? Bringing themselves to hatred and then love and loathing and all these different vibrations almost simultaneously. Sometimes having spazzes where they love something or someone in their life, but they can't handle it at the same time. They could be put into a situation where they're working at an office and they hate their boss, but at the same time they got a crush on the boss, okay? But they would never tell anyone. They wouldn't even tell themselves that they've got this. Or say pleasure and pain fixations, like say they've got a fantasy about an erotic experience that's actually tied to their childhood trauma, but they will not explain it or expand on it. They will likely just go into the erotic fetish world just to see what it's like. For example, if they've got a mother who's never cared about them and they never got enough and they're unconscious with their mom, like they never really assimilated, they could find a mother for them, okay? They could find it like through a colleague, most likely, or some kind of a person that they don't really understand, but they want something from another person that they have not gotten enough of in their childhood, okay? So basically what happens with Aquarius from 2008 till 2023, thanks to Pluto, fluctuation in spirit, fluctuation in energy, fluctuation where one can take on the world and doesn't care and could beat their drum and do whatever they want. And then for a couple of years, they'll just feel like they're no one. Nobody cares about them. They may as well just succumb to a very small existence. So their life will go through different rages. Sometimes they'll rage up and they'll become this huge person. You know, they'll even go on TV or something once or twice during this time. It's very likely. They'll feel like something in them is pushing them towards the bigger truth. They could just be anything. They don't care. You know, they could get run over. They wouldn't care. But then at the same time, sometimes they'd have times when they feel completely resolved. Like, okay, I'm done. I'm ascended, or like, I'm resolved. I can't do any more in this life. Sorry, guys. Goodbye, cruel world. And a lot of Aquarians in this time frame, Aquarian suns specifically, would be likely to commit some kind of a crime against another person, or even towards their mother or father, maybe even grant themselves really deep, dark wishes. Sometimes the unconscious world takes over, you know, like say, if they're a drinker or smoker, they could go into psychosis. They could really grant themselves really weird experiences where they could just like overtake another person's field and succumb to some really strange behavior and humiliation for them as well. Like being humiliated or being in compromising situations where they're taken advantage of. Say, you know, girls that take too much drugs and then, you know, they get molested or something like that. That's very easy to, I don't want you to be scared about this stuff. I'm just talking. It could be very easy, okay? Like say, or becoming somebody who is a who's proprietor, who perpetrates abuse. You know, if somebody's been abused before as a child and they want to go and abuse another person just to see what that's like, it's very likely to happen between 2008 and 2023 for Aquarians. Anything ugly that's hiding inside, and your body is your best tool to know. If your body's out, if you've got like bile issues, if you've got digestive, reproductive issues, if you've got anything surfacing that's intense, it is time to know what it is. It is time to really have a look at what is going on, because your unconscious, the world of losses, the world of power play, and the world of struggle against nothing will really pull you in, okay? So what to do? Basically, don't play. If there's darkness, it will ask you to play. Okay, if there is some kind of dark idea or fantasy, it is likely that you'll succumb. It is really likely for Aquarians to be pleasured in very strange ways by excitement of the deep, you know, the void, because sometimes they just want to know it, because they love it. They love all things and they want to love it too. And here's the thing, if you're an Aquarian native, especially Aquarian ascendant, don't fool around with the dark, okay? If you're somebody who's looking at the dark arts, don't fuck with that shit. I'm sorry for lack of better words. If you are somebody who is fooled by the idea of power, when you take somebody's money from their bank, you hack into their account and you can take anything you want, that kind of person, crime, if you think it'll give you some kind of an interesting feeling to shoplift, don't do it, okay? If you are looking at pornography, if you are exciting yourself by very strange demeanor, okay, if you are taking very strange advice from people, if you are putting yourself into compromising situations where you are having, say, sex with somebody who doesn't take you with any respect, you know, who beats you or anything like any of that dark stuff, and perhaps your soul is trying to piece something together, see a psychologist, see a counselor, see me, look, see me, you can see me for that. See a psychologist, a social worker, a counselor, somebody who will help you out. Don't put it on yourself to be in that position, because nobody deserves to be there. Nobody, okay? So basically, you've got to unwind it and see how and why. How and why, my friend, are you doing those things that you're doing? And how and why are you still possessed by the idea that something is to be punished? Okay, if you've got a really unclean conscience, it's likely that you'll go into some kind of like portal where you can't get out. Perhaps some kind of an addiction or some kind of a slight fascination with death. And that's likely for you if you don't have any spiritual calling. But this is a very good time to also find spirituality. Now, if you have too much love for the guru, or too much love for Christ, or too much love for anything that is beyond you that you think is holy. This is a very dangerous part. Okay, if you think that your church is beyond you, okay, that's dangerous. If you think that you are guru, that's dangerous. If you think the guru owns you, that's dangerous. Okay, any kind of guru worship or any kind of like holy man type stuff is not very good for the next while for you. Okay, and for the collective, really, if I think about it. But basically, your scheme of things is going to get very steepled. You will see things as high and low. You will see yourself as, I love this about me, and I will just put it on the front page of a magazine if I want. But then I hate this, and I wish that nobody would ever know about this, okay? Things will be like, experience this, but hush hush on this, okay? People will be very black and white. People might say, I love that I'm wearing a suit and I go to this job and I finally got this promotion the last couple of years because of my spiritual practice, or like I've been believing and I've manifested this great job. But I've got this low, and my low is, for example, that I hate my mom, and I'm still really attacking women around me because I can't come to terms with my mother. Okay, like if you've got something like that, you need to address this, and you really need to see a psychologist about it, and probably fast, because by the end of 2023 you'll know exactly who you are, and also who the people around you will be forever, well, for this life. Okay, you're really setting us up as a collective of like, what is our consciousness, what is our psyche, what are we as a people, you know, where are we? Are we in the gutter? Is our mind in the dirt? Or are we alive? Are we a light? You know, are we finding peace? Are we looking for God? What are we doing? Okay, so basically this is the very simple scheme. I'm going to go through the years, and I'm going to tell you what is likely the experience that you've had. But because the house of 12 is not always proportionate, sometimes in a chart is bigger, sometimes it's smaller, this may not be true. Sometimes it changes, it depends on the proportional scale of your house. It's mainly for Aquarian Sun, basically this is. Okay, so 2007, you would have done a lot of damage. You would have really reconciled with a lot of people, but would have done a lot of damage to your system of nerves. Maybe you would have had too much to drink once, or had done some kind of a big hissy fit, or a big sort of like fake excitement or something. You would have outburned your circuits a bit by 2007 and felt like you were vulnerable. If you have had a psychic expansion, then it would have been very strong and very clear, and you would have probably been a little bit under the weather for a long time afterwards. If you're an Aquarian Sun, by 2007 you would have seen the world as black and white, as heaven and hell, the devil and saints. Okay, so you would have seen it very black and white, and you would have propelled yourself on a journey where you're looking through time and space in a different way. So what would have happened by 2008? In 2008, you would have found somebody who would have led you into a religion. Or maybe you had somebody in your life that was perpetrating to you a certain type of cult type behavior. So drinking, drug taking, any kind of strange groups of people that don't just want to be people, okay? They want to be higher than people. They want to have higher experiences, higher intelligence, and higher everything. By 2008, you would have been very much alive in this experience and found this people like you, just like you, but they're not. Okay, by 2009, you would have been in an extreme intensity where you would have felt like nothing is really here, nothing is really there, nothing is really anywhere. Pluto would have taken you on quite a ride by 2009, and you would have seen that everything just unglues and shows up and then betrays. Okay, everything is just like here but not here, here but not here. You can't really count on anything. By 2010, you see, by 2010 you would have felt good, even if you had a lot of desire and despair and all these different things happened. By 2010 you would have had a little bit of stability in yourself, enough to say no to certain things. But what did you say no to? Okay, 2010 you would have made a choice by saying no to certain things. But what you didn't consider is people's feelings. Maybe you said no to the similar things you would have said no to earlier, but you didn't actually realize that they were good things. Or perhaps these people were not worthy of your rejection, you know? So you said no to a few things in 2010, walked away from a few situations maybe that did not really give you power in the end, that walking away. 2011 would have given you a lot of grief, because 2011 would have given you a run for your money. Who are you? What are you really? It was looking at you and it was laughing. 2011 would have attracted somebody or something that would have given you the idea that nothing matters unless you fill in the gaps, okay? Unless you take that voyage to another country, okay? Unless you simulate that you're drunk, you know, and go into this bar and then rob the bank, you know, unless you get really drunk and hook up with that guy from whom you'll have a child later or something, okay? Unless you do this. So you would have had like some kind of ultimatum by 2011 that you had to be somewhere, and almost like you had no way of being or no clue of who you were on this planet until you did this thing. By 2012 you would have done it and known that it wasn't the beautifulest choice, but it was fine. By 2012 you would have infinited yourself into different experience. You would have done a few different things and learnings and teachings and changes. By 2012 you would have done a lot of different things and grieved about things that you didn't do before. So like, I've missed out on my childhood, I missed out on my youth, I missed out on this and that. 2012 would have brought you a feeling of nostalgia. 2013 would have given you nothing good, okay? 2013 would be a year of reclaiming land, reclaiming things, reclaiming the old. And when you reclaim anything and you say, I have this is my property, this is mine, reclaiming an identity, reclaiming bits of your past. 2013, you see, Aquarius, when you go, this is my territory, this was mine, you can only see the future, you can't go backwards, my friend. If you go, I should have been whatever, 2013 would have been a very cruel joke, a very crude resemblance, okay? You would have resembled yourself in 2013, but you wouldn't have given yourself you yet, okay? In 2013, you would have given yourself an ultimatum, some kind of like choice. I've got to fix it, I've got to learn it, I've got to do this. And you would have done it, most feeling like, if you are, say, Pisces ascendant, you got softer signs in your territory, then perhaps you wouldn't have. You know, if you've got softer like Cancer, you got like, say, Capricorn Sun, for example, Aquarian Moon, you know, if you've got things that are like, you know, perhaps you would have had the initial shock of not having something in the past that you needed to retain, but you wouldn't have done it. But see, if you've had a lot of fire, if you've got fire, like you've got Aquarius Sun, and you've got, say, Sagittarius Moon, you know, and you've got, like, say, rising in Leo, then you would have probably definitely gone for it, this thing that would have promised you to realign your past, which is impossible, okay? So by 2014, you would have done it, that thing, and seen it as a joke, and would have probably thought about yourself in terms of the great collective mind as nothing, okay? You would have maybe thought about yourself in a very long-winded way before, but now suddenly you abbreviated. 2015 would have given you a lot of information about other people's business and a lot of research into other people's ideas and other people's understandings of life. And this would have given you a lot of information that is actually enough to keep you afloat and interested in your existence. In 2016, this year is an amazing year to give yourself up to another person, to something. If you are going to try and give to another, though, don't make it somebody higher than yourself, because Pluto is in Capricorn, okay? Anyone up here, guru status, no way. Religious forum, no way. Okay, give yourself up to like a baby, okay? 2016, very good time to breed, okay? Very, very good fruitful time for you to breed. Very good time for you to bring up a little child. Very good time for you to care for something small. Very amazing time for you to get a plant or a pet or something that you care for. Very amazing time to do that. Why? Because it brings you better to the idea of good, okay? If you see something good in something small, you see it in everything. So without further ado, what to do if you cannot have a child? What to do if you cannot have that unique small thing that you care for and you see as ultimate truth? What if you do not see truth in anything? Give yourself up to a burst of life. Give yourself up to the orgasm. Give yourself up to laughter, rapture, any kind of feeling of light. Okay. If you are not alive yet by 2016, if you're halfway, I don't know what I'm doing here, I don't know how I'm doing, I'm feeling alive, but I'm not really here. If you are in between by 2016, you have to go out. You have to go out and you have to beg forgiveness, okay? If you haven't forgiven yourself for something, you have to ask for it now. If you haven't done something that you promised you would, you need to do it. Complete your tasks, complete your cycles, 2016. 2017, who are you? 2017, you should really feel good in some way. You should really feel the burden that's lifted, but at the same time also completely oblivious to reality. 2017 would bring people that will not take from you but will rob you in different ways. 2018, if you cannot find grounding within your unconscious world, you'll see a lot of people struggling before you, and you'll need to get out of this season, season of struggle. If you are still struggling, 2018, you should really never purchase things that are not good for your body. You should never anymore give yourself up to an addiction. You should never anymore give yourself to a lover who doesn't respect your body. By 2018, you should be really clear and who are you and why are you, okay? By 2019, you should never teach anyone about who you've become by this time, but you will. 2019 will bring you to the feet of the mountain, okay? To the foot of the mountain, because you've designed it this way. You'll want to be somewhere where you can be seen like a big thing. By 2019, you'll really want to be an inspiration for another human being, and most likely you'll become that at least for a child or some small person. And by 2020, you won't want it. You'll see that it's pure, but at the same time it's false, and you'll see that there's duality everywhere and you won't want it anymore. By 2021, you'll want something completely different. You'll want a new life, you want a new look, you want a new partner maybe, you want something completely else, and you really don't care for the past anymore. And you just can't care. By 2022, you've got care. You carry about something, you carry something on your shoulders, like you've got a child or you've got a firm, you've got a thing, but you have no care in the world. Like you're carrying things in the real world, you're carrying something through, but you're not actually caring about it. Like you're not flustered, you're not worried, you're completely still. And by 2023, you feel a birthing of you, okay? You feel a birthing into new innocence of you, and you're really recalibrating as to how come I've never thought about how beautiful this life is. Why? Why did I not ever stop and listen to the sound of rain? Why have I never felt the beauty in the sun? Why have I never really felt good in just this moment in time? Why? And the answer will be simple, because you were not love, you were scared. And if you are not scared, you are love. So here you are. When you come to this point of regret and go, why? Just let it be and go explore. Expand. If you want to see the future, grow. Just enliven yourself with the flowers, with the blossoms, the blooms, and all these beautiful things. And breathe. Thank you for listening, dear Aquarius. It's quite an emotional forecast for me. I hope you enjoy your life and my channel. And if you like, you can subscribe, like, text, Facebook poke. Go to my website, have a look at what's going on there, and why are you still looking at my videos. If you like, you can get a forecast for yourself, some kind of a angelic reading. You can get a few different things that I offer, actually, that I haven't yet been offering online. I do different channelings, I do different spirits, I do different things. I do chakra cleansing, I do energy healing, I do psychic stuff. I don't do dead people though, okay? I don't read dead things. I'm not a psychic medium for the dead, okay? And there's a few different reasons for that. There's a few different reasons also why I don't do any kind of forecast for the future, like you will definitely become this or you will never be this, because it's coding, programming. At the end of the day, it's not up to me to tell you who you can or cannot be. Anyway, if you like, you can text or forward some kind of a note or email or book me for a reading. And it'll be really nice to hear from you. Thank you so much for your loyalty and your subscriptions. Love you.